Fast shout out, Null1000. Thank you for the Twitch Prime for the 3 months. Welcome back as we go into another series here. In the bottom left-hand side, we start with Team Liquid's uThermal in the Douyu Cup 2020 Group B. As in the top right, our red Zerg player is Scarlett. Nobody is out of this group yet. Nobody is actually eliminated from this group yet. While we've got a lot of weaker scores in the group, there are still possibilities for certain players to get through, for everybody to get through in advance, but obviously every result will limit who can then continue to go through here. And hey, thank you so much for the Twitch Primes that activate the hype train, guys. WardiTV for the 4 months, welcome back. And VFN Exodus for the 2-month resub as well. Honestly, eyes on uThermal for the early game here, because I look at this and I ask myself, hey, what does uThermal want to do in this early game? What does he want to set up for? Is he going to go 2-on-1? Is that something that Scott is maybe watching the stream for and realized what's happening? Does uThermal maybe say, no, I'm just going to go for a standard opener into mech? Does he just try and play a bio off a more regular opener without dealing that early game damage? What I loved about the 2-on-1 was he knew it could be used over here, the follow-up, to take a really good position on the third base of the Zerg. Obviously, the spawning locations were reversed, so he sieged up here and he really covered this area. And I really loved that because that gave him the edge and the advantage to make it a playable bio game, right? On a very large map. So a very, very large map. Able to make it a playable bio game because of it. And yeah, I like the choice because of that. So we shall see, as we do have the hatchery down on the natural, obviously waiting for Scarlett to just set up a few lings and queens and ling speed. There's obviously not much there. It's really more down to what uThermal decides to do to kind of dictate the early couple minutes of this game number 1. So that factory is about halfway along here already. The Zergling speed building in the main base, and Reaper is over here. Sorry, for some reason I clicked back home and then I was like, wait, I hear the Reaper on this side, but no, it was over here still. The queens are around, and we do see uThermal just going to go super fast 3cc this time. So he's actually going to go into the more the more economy-focused game. A game that could absolutely lead into bio, or it could absolutely lead into mech as well. Those are still a couple of possibilities here, so a couple of options still as this Reaper moves around the right-hand side. The queens moving forward, and the Reaper taking a few shots already. You have the starport is setting up in the main base as well. So again, that starport up, command center going to be finishing in the main base. So we get 3 bases down here very soon with the lair building up from Scarlett as well. Just going to be seeing this Reaper of uThermal. We'll hop up into the main. Going to go scouting straight through here. There's a couple of lings going to go latching onto the Reaper. The other couple of lings get there to pick off the Reaper as well. So Reaper goes down. The Hellions from uThermal also continuing to be produced. Getting the lair about halfway along. We're just going to be seeing a couple extra Hellions still coming through. The Vikings on the way out. The Queens are spreading some creep to the front at the moment. These injects continue to drop. A couple of Overlords continue to come into play. And of course, we're not really expecting to see much. As Scarlett has this fast lair, she will just go into the Spire. So until Mute is on the map, this is a fairly passive game unless uThermal tries to dive some Hellions by. That's not a Spire, that's a Swarm Host. That's an Infestation Pit. That's going to be Swarm Hosts. Okay, she's going to go 2-base Swarm Hosts. It's a good map for it because it's hard to counterattack on this map. There's a lot of positions you can drop the Niduses in. And if you get a good start with the Swarm Hosts, it can actually be very difficult to stop them afterwards. Once they get going, to stop them after that can be a real difficulty as these few queens, when they come out into the center. We do see the few Hellions going up the right-hand side. There's our Nidus, there's our Swarm Host, uThermal building into Stim Pack. So much of this comes down to how successful the first wave of Locusts is, though. And not just the first wave, but the earlier waves of Locusts are so very important here. You need those to be a success. Otherwise, probably aren't going to be having a good time, to be honest. You know, if you don't get damage done initially, uThermal starts to get into a very comfortable position as he takes his third base into location. He's about to hear this Nidus. He's got so many Hellions, so he was going for this kind of big Hellion run by. And what do? Do you bring the Hellions back? I actually think you just evacuate the SCVs from the natural, and you continue to run through with the Hellions. Liberator's going to siege up on this natural expansion. There's all the queens here, but if the queens actually want to fight the Liberator, they're going to have to ignore the Hellions, which go into the main base, and they're going to be able to do a bunch of damage. It's already 10, 13 workers going down. Across the map, the SCVs do just evacuate, so not much done by the Locust right away. With 14 drones already dead. I do quite like this for uThermal, who still has control of this main base, continuing to run around here at the moment. Hellions around the top, 18 workers lost. Again, 6 SCVs. The Swarm Host will be back up in a moment or two. A few lings on the ramp go down, and uThermal has found his way to the natural, so he's going to find even more drones. I mean, that's one of the big parts of this game. Even more workers than what we're already on. So now 14 drones left in the game for Scarlett. The 2-base Swarm Host will not be working out here in the slightest. Let's just jump down. They get a depot at least. uThermal just going to lift this base. Again, like, Scarlett's making it weird, and while uThermal has a big worker lead, he's not actually mining with them all, so... I mean, as soon as he does, though, then Scarlett's in trouble, right? So yeah, absolutely a bit of a weird one. This tank on the high ground going to kill this Nidus off. This is going to finish up there. Marines are going to catch the Swarm Host out of the Nidus. Oh no. Well, every single Swarm Host just died, and so did Scarlett's hopes in this game. If she was ever going to make anything happen, that was the moment, and has absolutely gone. GG. Entering Golden Wall, we start in the bottom left-hand side. Up 1-0, our blue Terran player. It is going to be uThermal. Taking on a red Zerg in the bottom right-hand side. Down a game, Swarm Host didn't work out with the Hellions running by. This is Scarlett. Hey, what's up, Hot SC2 on the 18-month resub as well. Thank you so much. You guys done with the zoom in of Scarlett's base? Yeah, we had enough of that. Okay, well, moving on. You set up, I mean, first gas and a Rax in the main. That is... Okay, it is Rax first for a moment. I wanted to believe it was gas first for a moment, but I was just looking at it. Funny one. Okay, well, Rax setting up. As do you see the spawn pool into the main base? So Hanch gas and pool here to begin with. SCV still building, the Overlord's moving, nothing to talk about early on Golden Wall. I feel like we've talked this map to death over the last few weeks. We've talked about all the different ways you can play. We've talked about what the what the gold base does, how it makes it weird. It's it's already discussed, right? Like, I feel like I've said it 100 times. The only thing I would say here from uThermal is that I think he will not go 3CC like he did on Golden Wall last time, because he's already used that build in game 1, unless he just feels like he can do it again because Scarlett was doing a bit of a weird setup as well. Maybe he feels as though he can then say, okay, well, if Scarlett was doing a weird setup, I can do a weird setup. As this SCV goes back over the left. And the Reaper of uThermal continues over to the right side, going to move through into the natural. And he's just going to be seeing a few lings chasing that Reaper down. Yeah, Reaper taking a few shots, lings going in for it, and the Reaper will move up the right-hand side and look at the third base already. Couple of command centers building up. So he is going to go 3CC once again. Again, it might just be that he says, well, you did kind of a weird build yourself, so you don't even really get to see what my overall plan is. Like, yeah, it kind of was just to build 10 Hellions and dive them into your mineral line, but, because you go, you don't get the real feel for it as Scarlett, because, from Scarlett's point of view, she's like, oh, I made Swarm Host and I don't have enough lings. She doesn't think, oh, I'm playing a regular game, he made more Hellions than usual, and he's overwhelmed me. And so that kind of difference in mindset may just enable uThermal to do a similar thing here again. So obviously this time against Scarlett's proper build and, you know, perhaps still to have some success. So Reaper hanging out on the ramp as we do see the hatchery on the third base, and just going to be seeing the oval, the command center on the third. Oh, Wardy just can't do words right now. I've had word issues all day, I swear. It's just my brain's slow today or something. But, yeah, third CC is obviously going to be done soon. Can morph in that orbital, and do expect that third to move out to the gold base here on Gold War. That boosted economy on 3 base is one of the big reasons Terrans can get into a strong macro game. You know, it helps uThermal control the game. This is a bit more regular from Scarlett. The Baneling nest just setting up. Although no lair just yet, so not a fast lair at all. So maybe it's not as regular as I'm thinking. But she is droning, so she's not going all in. There's the lair. Just the Bane nest is really early. So Scarlett's afraid that uThermal is going to be aggressive on the follow-up right now. And that's not the case at all. So for uThermal, that's a big win, because that's a drone invested early. That's a, you know, gas investment early that slows down what the lair should have been. Yeah, this is not good, because now, you know, you look at this from Scarlett's point of view, you don't have Bane speed, you don't have 1-1 quickly, you don't have either of those quick, you actually fall into a lot of trouble against some of the earlier Marine pushes with the Medivacs. Might still have the Bane speed, depending on the exact timing. You know, but again, it's that Bane Nest before Lair. You can go Lair, then Bane Nest, and start Bane speed faster, basically, is what I'm saying. Extra racks come down. Stimpack has started up. I mean, Bane speed is just a long upgrade, so it should finish. If Scarlett starts it right away, it should finish around the time that Stimpack is finishing, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue, but it is just, again, something else to watch out for. On a different build, a slightly different setup for uThermal. It could be more of an issue. He is on the 10 Hellions, so again, going into a couple extra Hellions, hence the racks are delayed, and then, again, maybe Bane speed doesn't matter as much. What can these Hellions do? Scarlett didn't morph in any Banelings, which is the right call. She didn't need to. uThermal just goes up here. This is going to get into this natural. Now, there's, again, a lot of Lings, but there is more Hellions than usual. Are they going to get any drones? You need to get some drones. See if you're going to give up all of your Hellions. Sees the Spire. That's a good scout. Gets 5 workers so far. Do you go to the main base? No, he chases the other drones. All the Hellions get denied. It's a complete shutdown from Scarlett. And uThermal just will not find what he's looking for there. And now, Scarlett free to spread her creep. Not really any other harassment coming through. That was like 2 Hellions per drone kill. And obviously you kill the Lings as well, but resources lost isn't on uThermal's side. Scarlett keeps a good economy. Didn't even have to pull the drones for that long. And again, you look at this right now, and it's all thumbs up all around for Scarlett. Definitely the start she was looking for. All these Marines setting up on the left side. Bit of creep spread continuing to get going as well, as we do see 1-1 upgrades. On the engineering base, combat shields setting up as well in the main base. I'm just going to see the extra Lings and Mutas continue to come through. We do have the hatchery going up in the top right-hand side. The creep Gemus continue to spread to the upper right, and more of this creep going through the middle of the map as well. Again, +1 flyer attack on the Spire, and we do see the Lings still just spreading themselves. A little bit to the top, center, bottom. We're really watching for all the pathways that uThermal could use. Scott's going to take this bottom base very early in the game. We don't see a lot of Zergs rushing to take this base. They really usually focus on 4th base, 5th base, fighting this top side. I like taking a bit earlier, right? If uThermal doesn't try and drop that position, this could absolutely be successful. And then, you know, then uThermal's going to find himself, you know, down another base he has to try and deny at some point. That can absolutely become a problem. Medivac around the top as the first Mutas take to the field. Of course, we saw that Spire way earlier when those Hellions ran by. So they got a couple SCVs on the goal to begin with here. uThermal is building that 4th base. So again, he's looking for the longer game. He really doesn't like going for the 8-1-1, the 8 racks here on Golden Wall, which was definitely a thing for a long time off the gold base. I don't think you can do it on this map after the 10 Hellions, because the 10 Hellions, I just don't think you can do it off the 10 Hellions, right? The 10 Hellions are hugely expensive. They're a big investment. But yeah, I just don't think you can really justify it off those. The Marines come through, the Queen gets pushed away through the top side for a little bit, and the rest of the Lings are going to go running forward with the Marines. Going to be there to really hold this off. The Lings getting a bit of surround, Marines getting some damage done, and the medevac does go hiding away in the top right-hand side. It's actually going to get shut down. So yeah, Scarlett defending well for the moment. That does worry you if you're a uThermal fan, I think, because you've got to look at this now and say, well, everything uThermal's trying isn't going well, and Scarlett is definitely scariest when she's allowed to get into that crazy good macro game, when she's got creep spread around the entire map. It does feel where Scarlett lacks is just some of the finesse to get to that later stage of the game sometimes, but she is terrifying when she gets there, and she's here right now. Banes kill the Marines, medevac gets picked off as well. Still plenty of creep tumors pushing through the center as the changelings will wander forward as well. Some quick kills there from uThermal. Just one medevac at a time, one drop here, one drop there. Problem is, I really don't feel like this is syncing up with anything else. It felt like earlier when uThermal was playing, you know, one attack always led to the next attack. You know, this medevac always pulled out of position for the next medevac. But now, it feels like this one medevac goes forward and uThermal's like, oh, I'll clean up a couple creep tumors that are on my half of the map. And he's like, oh, I guess I gotta run home to go deal with Mutalisks as well. And, you know, this is all, you know, these are all things that just don't really kind of find you as much value. And because he didn't kill the workers in the early game, he just struggles to control the game. Plus, Scarlett takes this bottom base as a fifth. And that means that uThermal can't just take this position and really hold out this fifth base and making the Zerg's life difficult there. So I really love everything that Scarlett's doing in this game. The way she's setting up, the way that she's expanding. Obviously, her defense has been brilliant so far and on point. I mean, this medevac now might bring the mutas back home for a while. It's the one thing I'm seeing. Okay, this is what I need. Right now, you've got a medevac in the main base that kills a bunch of drones. 9 workers. Isn't done yet. Queen taking damage. Nearly lost a Mutalisk. Now you've got the second medevac into the natural expansion, right? And again, this is where it adds up. This medevac's going to try and pull units away. While these Marines do some damage here as well. uThermal will lose those. And we'll lose these down here as well. But it's 13 workers. He's cleaning up creep at the same time. This is a little bit more what I wanted to see from uThermal over the last few moments. Finally feels as though he's able to sync up a couple of attacks and make this work out that little bit better. Some Banes run through the planetary fortresses. Gonna take a bit of a beating. Some of the Banes rolling in. Just gonna straight up blow that up. I mean, there is another base there ready to replace it right away, and uThermal's already flying out a 5th base, so it's not an immediate issue or concern in that regard. As the Lings are going to take a Widowmine shot, and the mutas get here, picking off a medevac as well. Some of the creep in the middle of the map now being cleaned up also. A lot of the Ling Bane from Scarlett down the right-hand side. And again, uThermal just trying to take away the creep in these positions. Scarlett's been very good at replacing it, and she even still has some active tumors. Doesn't even necessarily need to bring the Queens forward right away. I mean, the Queens would be better. They're going to reach further out, but yeah, interesting. Well, he just take a Widowmine shot. Just going to see the Marines out to the top side. Thorn Marines getting another Mutalisk kill. 3-3, well on the way from uThermal, and just still seeing Adrenal Glands building on the spawning pool. And there are our 4 Widowmines. Continuing across to the far right of this. Again, Widowmine here going to do okay. Good splits from Scarlett. I do like these, you know, again, somewhat, not really randomly placed mines, but mines that are left in certain locations, placed in certain positions, uThermal knowing they are very likely to get some of the kills they're looking for. As these Marines continuing through the center. Taking down a couple more creep teamers here again, Bio Mine. It's still just the composition. Scarlett is on Hive Tech, and she's not really done much with the Hive Tech yet. She's not gone into the Ultra Cavern, most notably. She's just going into 3-3 and Adrenal Glands, so she's doing something with it, but yeah, no Ultralisk Cavern. You've got to think that it's generally one of the things you leap at the chance to get, because Ultras really do change the momentum of how a Terran plays this TVZ matchup. Tank Widowmine Thor is just not great against what is actually a very heavy Ling run by. Marines are stimming back home to come help deal with this. Can they protect the Thor? Saving the Thor would be a pretty big deal, and will save the... Oh no, it goes down last second. Yeah, saving the Thor would have been big, as there's a few Lings still around to scan. If possible, would be fantastic. Scans out on the map. If these lings pop back up, right, it's just a bunch of SCV kills for free. Now Scarlett decides she doesn't want this fight, though. Even though there's no Widow Mines there, I guess she doesn't quite know that, right? So it's hard to just say, oh yeah, we, no Widow Mines. Can just jump into that, no problem. It's very hard to say as we see these other Marines setting up on the third base. The Vax coming around, just gonna see our meters there. We'll pick up another Widow Mine or so as well. A couple of drones go down as this Widow Mine here is trying to decide what it wants to go off on. It's juggling between his drones getting range. They jump in the extractor, then one drone jumps out, so it retargets a lot. And that's why in the end it was just going to retarget onto that Zergling. As those lings popping back up, the Marines are still here. Scarlett avoids a bullet as she dodges away with the mutas and flying straight over that. That Widow Mine is going to get a shot off though. No! Targeted down quickly enough. Scarlett gets rid of it. And uThermal comes chasing into the main base, chasing down those mutalists still. With those Marines out in the center. Marine Widow Mine Thor well set up. But again, what progress is uThermal really ever making? Scarlett just doesn't take these forward bases, so uThermal finds it difficult to end up on top of any of those bases. And Scarlett just continues to expand through the bottom side. That said, uThermal's able to play a more passive game and just go straight to Liberators. He's not been trading as much. When he has traded, he has still been trading efficiently. uThermal's going to lose this orbital in the main, but at the same time, push on the top side with the Widow Mines. Cleaning up a bunch of the incoming banelings. Wow, all the banes go down, so uThermal's going to kill a base. So main base orbital for an actual mining base here. uThermal will be very happy with this. I can't believe 23 drones have gone down as the mutas continue to make magic happen in the main. What more can they do? Well, too many units here now. Does uThermal continue through? These Thors can tank a few more bane shots. There might be some justification to stick around here. This Ultra spawns. uThermal isn't standard. It's going to eat a Widow Mine shot, though. It's going to die. Turns back around. The mutas now go onto the gold base, but a third of the workers killed for Scarlett is what uThermal found across the map. And again, killing a mining base versus an orbital in the main. It's a big difference too, because uThermal has plenty of command centers around the map to replace, build new orbitals with, expand with as well. Both players drained of money here, unable to max out just yet. Scarlett does have a bit of gas in the bank. Rebuilding more mutas. Again, she does have the Ultra Cavern down. Her first Ultras are here now. So those Ultras are finally onto the map. I don't like more mutas being made when there's Liberators in production. I don't know if she's noticed that yet, but if uThermal gets like 6 to 8 libs, and they just fight the mutas in a fight instead of sieging up, these mutalisks, they do not have a good time. These mutas take a lot of damage, especially if they take a Widow Mine shot on the way in. And then the investment into more mutalisks just doesn't really add up to anything, as uThermal comes back in looking for a base cancel, but it wasn't even building again just yet. Now Scarlett's adding some infestors, so looking for some of those fungal growths as uThermal. I like this, just push down the bottom side of the map. Very hard for Scarlett to set up flanks and big surrounds on this side of the map. It does leave his side of the map open though, right? So immediately Scarlett can respond by attacking some of uThermal's bases herself. She's going to send the mutas straight up there, and these bases are now important bases of uThermal. But of course, it's coming at the cost of the important mining bases of Scarlett. 18 workers killed. Continues to re-expand where possible as, these SCVs get out of there, so a planetary fortress might go down. Still, Bioforce gets off as well, man. uThermal's so good at just finding corners and the little areas which are just not covered by, spore crawlers or a couple of units or whatever. These Banes running in, not having a great time. Wouldn't mind to blow up a couple Terran units there, though, as the Marines show up to help push the mutas away. Lost a planetary, lost an orbital here. That's not enough Marines. Still trying to push forward the Liberators. Gonna start picking off these infestors. No scan, I don't think, for uThermal. He's gonna get rid of pretty much all the Ultras, though. That one Ultra here goes down as well. He's gonna have units left over. The infestors are low energy, so they're not gonna ambush either, and uThermal will kill even more drones. Still has a drop in the third base. Felt like he had a drop in the natural there for a moment, but not the case. Yeah, he's gonna get rid of this base. He might even get rid of this base, and that is massive. Killing off all these bases. The mutalists having a good time. The Liberators trying to help out with a couple of Widow Mines to help out along the way. Liberators not doing enough, though. They're getting taken down. uThermal continues up into the main base, as this is just base trade territory across the map for the moment. That Marauder just about survives. Gonna see the mutas coming in. Gonna go for the planetary as well. Gonna see the mutas continuing in for the orbital commands, and the rest of this army from uThermal pulls back away. A Marine here going in after a couple of extra drones. Just going to be seeing the rest of our mutas into the center. I mean, they back off now. They've put on a lot of pressure. Resources lost about 6,000. I wouldn't mind here. Gets a Mutalisk. Obviously splashes the other ones low. They weren't looking to fight anyways anytime soon, so not the biggest of issues. And uThermal did lose a lot of command centers. You look at what he's actually got left. He's got a planetary and 2 orbitals. I mean, he's actually been pretty much halted on mining as well. Look at his income graph, though. uThermal's still mining more anyway. That's this top left base, right? Just fully E-fresh, planetary fortress. But it will drip down a bit as Scarlett sets up that top right-hand side. Getting some drones there. Should even out the income, but does uThermal then just have a bit too much already on the map? 113 to 76 army ply is what's standing as we speak. Means fly in. Gold base orbital goes down. uThermal down to 2 orbitals in the game. Widowmine, Thor, Liberators. That's not the fight you wanted, Scarlett. The Mutalisks are gonna die. And that's half the Mutalisks just dead in an instant. The rest are low. uThermal pushing top right base gonna go down. So the mining we just talked about being so important will not last with Scarlett. And uThermal's TVZ continues to control and win games for him, win series for him. And now uThermal has turned an 0-1 score into a 2-1 score in this group so far and has potential to keep up a chance to get out of this group.